Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I welcome you all to the final and concluding session of Weekend with Wisdom on Aitariya Upanishad with Sri Shankara Bhashyam by Sri Jaishankar Narayananji. We are very grateful to Jaishankar Narayananji for conducting these sessions. Viewers, if you have any question, please post them in Q&A box. Jaishankarji will be taking up towards the end of the session. Jaishankarji, please start your session.
Sharing.
Yes. Okay.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha वांग मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य माणी स्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. So we were looking at the discussion between the Purva Pakshi, who says that there are three types of Atma. There is a Jivatma, there is an Ishvara, and a Paramatma, which is devoid of any attributes. So to him, Bhashyakara asked the question, how do you know that there is a Jiva? So he says that Jiva is the one who is the thinker, who is the seer, who is the hearer, like that. Then Bhashyakara raises the point that the one who is doing this hearing, is he hearing all the time? While he is hearing, he is not doing anything else. While he is thinking, he is only thinking, he is not hearing or seeing. While he is seeing, he is not doing the other activities. So based on activities which are happening occasionally, you cannot say that somebody is so and so, correct? Their nature you cannot determine based on that. Like if I am walking, I am the walker. But saying that I am the walker does not really tell who I am, correct? I can be a man, or I can be a woman, or I can be some animal also can walk, correct? Anybody can be a walker or a runner. So by just seeing that activity, you are not going to know the self. In fact, Bhashyakara also pointed out that self is the one who is doing the action, okay, but it is never an object of that action. It is always the subject. It is always the thinker. It is never an object of a thought. That is said by the Upanishad itself. So he says that if you give a definition like this, it will be contradictory. It is not correct. So for that, that person says, no, I'm not saying you can see the self, the Jivatma, with perception, sense perception or anything, but you can infer from all these activities that there is a Jivatma who is doing that. But even there, what Bhashyakara is pointing out is, there will be a split, the inferring self and the inferred self, like that it will become. So which self is your self then? Is it the inferring self or the inferred self? Self cannot be both the subject and object of a particular activity at the same time, or you cannot split it like that. So like this, when Bhashyakara pointed out, the Purva Pakshi then asked, then how do you then say that you are only saying that this Atma is to be known and all that. So how do we know this Atma? And when Bhashyakara says, yeah, don't you know this Atma has both all these qualities of hearing, thinking, etc. and it does not have those qualities also. When he says that, the Purva Pakshi is now saying, no, it is all contradictory, it is inconsistent. Then Bhashyakara points out that it is not really inconsistent. That is because there are two types of sights. This is what we were discussing. Okay. The sight which we normally know as vision or sight is the one which happens through the eyes, or the hearing which happens through the ears, through the indriya, through the sense organs, whatever activity is happening, that is what we know as that particular sight or hearing, whatever it is. But that is temporary, because that can come and go. You may get a disease, you may not be able to see then. And even if you get a disease, you become blind, you may still see in your sleep, in your swapna, correct? Then how did you see there without any indriya? That question also Bhashyakara in fact raises that in the Bhashya also. So there may be cataract, because of which you may not be able to see in the waking, but you can sleep and dream, and in the dream you are seeing everything. Similarly, you become deaf in the waking due to whatever reason, but you can hear in the dream, you are hearing some mantra. All that is possible, correct? That means who is doing that hearing, that ability to hear, the capacity to see, all that is there in the self itself, which is the conscious being, which is the only conscious being. So that capacity in that self is permanent, because it is its very nature as a conscious being. So there are two types of sights, he says. One is the temporary sight, which belongs to the indriya. The other is the one permanently which is there, which is nitya drishtihi, he says. Okay, nitya drishtihi, it is there in the self itself. And which is the seer of this temporary sight, because that self even knows whether your eyes are seeing or not, whether your ears are hearing or not, whether your mind is thinking or not, whether you have knowledge or you do not know about something. You have a knowledge of some object or you have ignorance of an object. All these things are also evident to which self, that is the self as a conscious being we are talking about. So the whatever is this permanent self is the grahika, is the one which grasps, or to which everything becomes evident, whatever is happening at the indriya and the level of the mind. But the problem, where is the problem? The external vision's qualities, and that those qualities can become better. When you are born, your indriyas are not functioning very well. It takes some time for it to grow and function very well. Then again, as you age, it decays. It doesn't function so well. You have to wear glasses and all that. Those qualities of the external vision are taken as the qualities of the vision of the Atma itself, which is the permanent vision, correct? Nitya Drishti, which is the one which is even cognizing whether this temporary sight is taking place or not. And that is an erroneous cognition. And that is there in all the people. The worldly people, they have this. Okay, that is Bhranti Nimittam, Bhashyakara says. So it is there in the Loka, that is what it is there. So people erroneously take the eternal as the ephemeral, that is the ignorance itself. So it is similar to even seeing Bhashyakara says, gives other examples and all that. This alata is there. Alata Shanti Prakaranam, like that, even in Mandukya Karika, there is a Prakarana. Gaudapadacharya has written to show that you can see many different forms, correct? Or even in modern days, movies are a great example. Really, nothing is moving, correct? If you move that film, rotate the film at 24 frames per second, everything looks like real when it is projected. But in reality, nothing is there. So when something is revolving or the firebrands are rotated or whirling, you see so many shapes. But that's all only Maya, correct? There's nothing like that is really there. And that's what even the Shruti also, with reference to all the Vyavahara, what is it saying? It is saying Dhyayati Iva, Lelayati Iva, like that. Everything is Iva. It is as though thinking, it is as though doing some activity, because there is no real activity for this self. So also the Purva Pakshi raised one point that if you say that the self is knowing eternally, then simultaneously all knowledge will take place and all that. Bhashyakara says nothing like that. There is nothing like whether there is no simultaneity nor the opposite of that. The self is always conscious. everything becomes evident to it. But what becomes evident to it may depend on the activities of the upadhi, like the mind and the indriya. So there is no problem of this. Knowledge will happen simultaneously and all that. All kinds of knowledge will take place by itself. That is not also true. And again, what he says is what it is quite possible that normal people and logicians, all these Nayayikas, Vaisheshika, Tarkika people, they, although they accept Veda, namesake they accept, but they give predominance only to logic, their own some inference and all that. Okay. So they do not understand the Tatparya of the Veda. They do not know the Sampradaya. Agama Sampradaya Varjitatvat, he says. That is why in some other place he says you should learn the Shastra only from a Sampradaya with. So you should not learn from an Asampradaya with okay, Asampradaya with Murkavat, he says. Like even a fool you have to discard the one who is not a Sampradaya with one who doesn't know how to teach. The methodology of teaching is so important for us. So here, these Tarkikas and normal people, they do not know the teaching of the Veda. Therefore, they take the Anitya, this Atmanaha Drishtihi iti Prantihi Upapanna eva, he says. So they think that the vision of the self also is Anitya only. So they, in the Tarkikas and all, they make a claim that self has all these qualities, Sukha, Dukkha and all that. Those are all not correct. They are not going according to what the Upanishad is revealing about the self. And also you are seeing all these distinctions between Jiva, Ishvara, Paramatma. They are also, all those things are also similar. It is all due to Bhranti only. It is all erroneous cognition. You are also not understanding what the Upanishad is really teaching. That is the point Bhashyakara is making here. In fact, he goes on to give a very beautiful Bhashya here. I have tried to translate it into English, which is a little bit unwieldy, but let us see that. So similarly, people also have erroneous idea like it is not, etc. with reference to that, where the differences in words, and here he says Shabda and Manas. Okay, both it is Agochara. Shabda Mana. This Atma is not an object of either words, because it is not a meaning of any one particular word, nor can it be objectified by the mind, because mind itself is acting on behalf of whom or impelled by whom. That mind can never turn back and objectify the self itself. It is only objectifying always other objects. So that which is beyond names and forms, okay, in which all the names and forms become one in reality because they are all mithya, that one people are making some kapola kalpita, we have to say, correct? They have their own imaginations. They are making all sorts of theories based on that. That which is eternal and which is unconditioned, on it they are putting their own opinions, whether it is there or not and all that. The Buddhas say there is no Atma at all. There are Madhyamikas are said, they say that Shunya alone is there. Some others accept Atma is there. There is something called Atma. The Jains say it is there, it is not there and all that. They have something called Syadvada. It is there, it is not there, it is both there and not there. Then they have another three combinations of that. Totally, I think Syadvada, like that they call it. That means they say that nothing can be really known with any certainty, like that they have some theory. So what Shankara does in one place is he applies the same to the Syadvada and he rejects that. Syadvada itself is applied to Syadvada, and so you do not really, whatever you are saying also is neither true or false or anything. So we don't want anything where we cannot ascertain something as the truth. The Upanishad is actually ascertaining what is self, what is its nature very clearly. We can go with that. So he again says this very important sentence. He says, those who wish to differentiate and have ideas like it is not, it is one or it is many, it is with qualities or without qualities, it knows or it does not know, it has action or it is actionless. See, each of these things actually are talking about a particular darshana, we can say, because different people have different opinions about this Atma. the Vishishtadvaitin says Atma has all qualities and all that, correct? Even Ishvara has Sarva Kalyana Guna Sampannaha and all they say. Ishvara has only all good qualities. Okay, so with qualities, some others say there is no quality in the Atma, and Atma itself is not there. Buddhists are all there like that. Then Atma is really a knower or not? There also there are different opinions are there. And what is the parimana of the Atma? Whether it is of the size of the body, or whether it is anu parimana, or it is vibhu, whether it is all pervading, all that also there are many questions. Whether there is one Atma or many Atmas. The debates are endless. So if you just go by logic or whatever perception and all that, you can never come to any conclusion. That is the point here Bhashyakara is making. So how do we then know means we have to take refuge in the Shastra. Shastra alone can tell you what the nature of this Atma is. That in fact will come next. So you can make all kinds of, like philosophers also, they are there. Each philosopher is refuting the other philosopher. They don't come to any conclusion finally. Okay, all speculation only. So you can keep on speculating whether it has a cause or it is causeless, whether it has a sukha or dukkha, whether it is there within or without, whether it is shunya or not shunya, whether it is different from me or not. But the self itself, in fact, it is cannot be objectified by both words or mind. Correct? Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasasaha, like that Taittiriya Upanishad says. So those who are doing all these speculations, what Bhashyakara says is they may as well wish to roll up the sky like a leather, he says, leather garment. Or they may wish to climb the sky with their feet. I think he gives 2-3 analogies. I don't know. He was in a bad mood or what, I don't know. Then he says, or they can wish to trace the footprints of the fish or birds in water and sky. All these useless things, it is like doing this, he says. Speculating on your own about the nature of the Atma is really a useless activity. You have to take pratishtha, refuge in the Shastra. That's what he is saying. So Shastra also is revealing this Atma, correct? As Neti Neti, Yato Vacho Nivartante, I already said. It also says Ko Adha Veda, who has known this Atma as an object, who indeed has known this Atma, means as an object. Nobody can know this. This is there in Rig Samhita itself. So the Atma has been revealed as yourself, which can never be objectified and which need not be objectified. That is the important point again, because it is self-revealing. All you have to do is remove all wrong notions about this Atma. Okay. Now the Purvapakshi says, then how can one have knowledge that he is myself? Katam tarhi tasya sama atmeti vedanam. Bruhi kena prakarena tam aham sama atmeti vidyam. Tell me in what way one can know this Brahman is myself, he is myself, like that. How can I know that? Now Bhashyakara, he actually narrates an interesting story. It seems there is a very simpleton or a very, let us say, manda person is there. I don't want to say idiot, but not very bright. Okay, person is there, and he did something wrong. Then somebody out of frustration told him, "Fie on you! You are not even a man. Okay, you are not a human being." Like that, somebody scolded that person. Then he took it upon himself. No, am I a human being or not? So he goes to somebody else and asks him, it seems, who am I? Can you tell me? Then this other person knows about this person already. So he says, wait, I'll tell you slowly. I'll show you step by step who you are. Like that, he then shows him, see, these are all the different objects, but they are all not conscious beings and all that. They are not Purusha. So none of the objects which you are seeing, everything, whatever is there here is a human being. And you are, in fact, none other than the human being. Like that, he shows this person by Anvaya and Vyatireka, let us say, by showing what is not a human, and then you are none other than human being. Like that, he points out. And then he is silent. Then also what this person This person is not very bright to even cognize that. He again asks him, why have you become silent? Why don't you teach me that I am the human being? So your question is like that, Bhashyakara says. He narrates this story and he says that if somebody does not know, if they say that you are none other than human being, even if you say you are the human being also, he is not going to know. So you are like, your questions are like that. Even when the Shruti has clearly pointed out what is what, you are not able to accept it, means some other block is there. Most of these people, they do not want to read the Shruti and understand it straightforward. They have their own some notions, some emotional attachments and all that. And they try to then, my Guruji used to say, it is like wringing that when we wash the clothes, correct, and towel and all that, we really try to take the last bit of the water out of it by wringing it, and then only we put it for drying, correct? Like that, they are trying to wring some meaning out of the Shruti. They use all their intellect, their grammar, etc. But they are the ones who are losing, in fact, because what if you do not know the Atma is limitless, your loss is limitless, correct? Iha ched avedit ata satyam asti. Na ched iha avedin mahati vinashtihi. That is what the Shruti is saying. If you do not know this self as the limitless, the loss is limitless for you. It's a limitless loss, infinite loss. That is the loss. So, here finally Bhashyakara says, therefore the only way to know this Atma is from the teachings of the Shastra. You have to take refuge there. Tasmat yata Shastra upadesha eva Atma avabodha vidihi. Shastra upadeshe eva Atma avabodha vidihi we have to take. Na anyaha, nowhere else. Okay, you have to know this from the Shastra only. That's why he finally gives this summary. He says, Atayeva Shastram Atma Swarupam Bodhitam Pravritam Sate Amanusyatva Pratishedena Neti Neti Ityukta Upararama. So he says, I am now concluding. Okay. So like the Shastra also teaches the Atma Swarupa by saying Neti Neti, which is similar to teaching that Manda person, correct? That not very bright person about himself as that he is none other than Manushya. Like that, his Amanashyatvam, negating his Amanashyatva or not being a human being and showing him he is a human. Like that, this by negation only Atma is being taught because you have wrong notions about yourself, correct? Those wrong notions have to be negated. That is the important. And then also it is pointed out, other Shrutis are there, Anantaram Abhahyam and all that, about the nature of the Atma. Then Vedarnika very clearly says, I am Atma, Brahma, Sarvanubhuhu. It is the one which is the to whom everything becomes evident. Correct? All experiences are becoming evident to this Atma. That's why this Atma means to know the Atma, you don't require any special experience. Pratibodha viditam matam. That's what Kena Upanishad says. Bodham bodham prati. In each and every cognition, consciousness is the invariable. You have to recognize that. But we take it for granted. In fact, we are focusing only on the object of knowledge and does not know the subject, which is consciousness. Correct? So, Ayamatma Brahma Sarvanubhuhu. It is the one which is experiencing everything. That is Brahman also, this Atma. Tattvamasi teaching is there. Then again, Yatrat Tvasya Sarvam Atmaiva Bhut Tat Kena Kampashyet. When everything is Atma only, there is no subject object duality anymore. Who will see what? There is nothing to be seen or anything. You are not a seer, in fact, in reality. All that is only mithya, it's all only appearance. So, like this, Atma has been taught very clearly by the Shastra. You have to just understand that. That's all one can do. So, now with this, Bhashyakara has completed the first Adhyaya. Now we go to the second Adhyaya. And here he introduces the second Adhyaya because the second Adhyaya is going to talk about the transmigration of the Jiva. And for you to get some Vairagya, that's what Bhashyakara says. So until the time you know this Atma as this Brahman, correct? And if you are still considering yourself as this anitya, mortal being, and having all this upadhi like body, mind, sense complex, so all the qualities of the body, mind, sense complex, you take it as yours. And then you go through life and death. All the Shadbhava Vikara is there, and you can take life as anything, like from Brahma up to a grass, you can take life. And this happening, it's a vicious cycle, it keeps on going, correct? Until this self-ignorance is there, you will take yourself as a wanting person. Because of that, you will have desires. Then you have to do something. By doing, again, you are collecting more karma. That karma has to be again exhausted. Means you take one more birth. Like that, it keeps on going. It's a self-propelling thing. Okay. So this samsara is self-propelling. This life of becoming keeps on going, and you give up one set of body, mind, sense complex, and then you gain another, like that, again and again, like the flow of a river. It keeps on going, and that is now shown in the second chapter, so that you can get vairagya. You don't keep pursuing the same limited things. All the results of action are finite and limited. What you really are seeking is the limitless. So by going through all these limited pursuits, you are only going to prolong your own misery. So have some dispassion and try to learn about yourself. So here the Upanishad is talking about what it is now talking about. Previously it said, correct, I am avasatha, I am avasatha, I am avasatha. Three abodes are there. And even there I told you that one of the abode is the father, because you are there in the father as the seed. So Purushe Hava Ayam Aditaha Garbhaha Bhavati. So this Jiva, actually, in fact, this Jiva's travel, let us say, is also described in other Upanishads also. In Mundaka Upanishad also it comes. It is even related to Pancha Agni and all that. Then in Chandogya also it is there. So there and all they talk about what even Bhashyakara here in the Bhashya, he introduces like saying that a person who has done karma in one life, and then he leaves this body, and based on his karma he will go through this Dhumadi Marga and all are there. Okay, you go through the path of smoke, Dhuma means, and reach Chandra Loka, and then till your punya is there, you enjoy in the Chandra Loka. Once the Kshine Punye, after the punya is exhausted, you have to come down. So how do you come down? So in these lokas, you don't die really. That is the point. It's not like you are young, you become old and then die. When till the time your punya is there, you are always enjoying, then you just vanish. That is the understanding. Without any old age and all that, you leave. But when you leave, you come down through the Megha, we say. So Swarga, Megha, and all these places also are your abodes according to the other Upanishad. Here it is only talking about three from the father onwards. But in other places, the Swarga and Megha, and then you come to Bhumi. Bhumi also is taken. Because through rain you come and enter the Bhumi, and through that again you go into all the Oshadis, plants and all that. Then the father is eating that food. That's how you have entered into your father's body, and there you are there as the semen, the seed. The seed itself is what? It is a collection of all the whatever rasa he says. Means all the DNA of your different organs are all there in that, correct? So yed retaha. So first you are there as garbha, it says, in your father's body, purushe. So you are as though you are, garbha means really pregnant, but in the father's body, the pregnancy is not really visible, correct? It is there. The seed is there, that's all. But it is there with all the DNA. And then what? Yed reta, retad, retaha, yed etad retaha, tad etad sarvebhyaha, angebhyaha, tejaha, sambhutam, atmanyeva, atmanam bibharti. So this is what I said. So this seed which is there in the father's body, okay, it is collected from all the angas of the, it is actually the tejas of all the angas, it says, means whatever the capabilities of all the angas, the organs of the body of the father, their rasa, okay, are all collected and it is there in the seed, means the DNA is there, like I told you. And in this way, the father is Atmanam, Atmani Vibharti, means what here? Atma and all does not mean Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma here. This Atma is really body. So in the father's body, he is now carrying the other Atma of the child. Okay, who is the Jiva who has come into the father's body, who is pregnant there in the father's body in the form of the seed. And then what? This father comes to age and then he gets married. Then he deposits it, transfers it to the mother. So tad yata striyam sinchati atha yenat janayati tadasya prathamam janma. So now two abodes have been talked about already. First, this jiva is in the father's body. Now from that father's body it gets transferred to the mother's body. Okay, striyam sinchati. Then what? Then the first janma of that. So the transfer is the janma, correct? You go from one abode to another. Two abodes have been talked about now. From father's body now, you get transferred into mother's body. And then your first janma has taken place. Okay, then what? In fact, one point I have to tell you here, in some editions they have even given at the beginning of this chapter, if there are any garbhinis, you should not listen to this like that. So this chapter is not supposed to be listened to by pregnant women because it is talking about pregnancy and all that. That means women also were listening to Upanishads. Okay, so like that there is some people put that also. Okay. Now this is there even in some other like Brihadaranyaka also, some portions and all there are, they say that Garbhinis should not listen to this. There also it is discussed in the 6th chapter, I think. Anyway, tat striya atma bhuyam gachati yatha swam angam tatha. So once this the seed enters the mother's body, then what, the embryo and all forms and it becomes one of the anga of the mother's body itself. Right? It is not like a tumor or anything. In fact, Bhashyakara says that in the Bhashya. It is not like a tumor or some kind of a growth which is inimical or hurtful to the mother. It becomes like one of the parts of the mother only. Okay, so swam angam tatha, it becomes atma bhuyam, it becomes part of the body of the mother. And it does not hurt her. Tasmad enam na hinasti, it does not hurt in any way. And sa asya etam atmanam atra gatam bhavayati. So the mother then takes care of the embryo, the fetus, because the whatever nourishment the mother has. In fact, once somebody becomes pregnant and all that, they take care of their body specially, correct? Because the child also has to be taken care of. They are careful about what they eat. They eat enough nourishing food, all that. So bhavayati means the mother nourishes the child, and again it has connection through the umbilical cord, and the child is nourished by the mother. And this is the second garbha. The first garbha has already happened in the father's body. Now also the garbha continues here and it grows, and then finally what? Sa bhavayitri bhavayitavya bhavati. Okay, now Shruti also says whoever is this pregnant woman, this three, who is taking care of the baby, correct? Who is the nourisher of the baby, should also be protected and nourished. Okay, we have to take care of by the, obviously by the father. So again, Bhashyakara here makes an important, interesting point. He says upakara paropakara has to be there always in any worldly transaction. He says so. Father has to take care of the mother. Mother also has to take care of father. Upakara and paropakara is always there, and that is how the world works. and one has to always be helping others and all that, he says. So this pregnant lady should be protected, nourished, bhavayitavya bhavati. Then what? Tam stri garbham vibharti. So she is now holding on to this or supporting this garbha, this pregnancy. And saha agre eva kumaram janmanaha agre adhi bhavayati. So when the son is born, okay, baby is born, then the father now nourishes the baby also. And how does he nourish and protect that baby? Again, Bhashyakara brings samskaras here. He says the father has to do jata karma, etc. The samskaras, and that is how the baby. Even before also, there's a garbhadana samskara is there. Even before the birth, and then jata karma is there. Nowadays, the garbhadana is supposed to be done during the wedding itself. I don't know whether they are doing properly, but they do it, I think. So the father, as soon as the baby is born, and the father does this, all this jata karma, all the samskaras, and takes care of the baby. And Sayat Kumaram Janmanaha Agre Adi Bhavayati Atmanam Eva Tad Bhavayati Yesham Lokanam Santatya. So when the father takes care of this baby, it is like he is taking care of himself only, because he is perpetuating this santati in the loka. Because in the loka, otherwise what, everything will come to a stop. If you don't reproduce, then there won't be any vyavahara in the loka, correct? For the loka to function, one has to reproduce, one has to bring about one's own progeny, son, daughters, and all that. And you have to take, and son is taken care of as one's own self. The reason for that we'll see next. Okay, the son is looked upon as a extension of one's own self only here. So, Atmanam eva tad bhavayati, and yesham lokanam santatya evam santata hi ime lokaha tadasya dvitiyam janma. So only by this, by continuing the lineage, this flow of life is there in this loka. It's all a flow, correct? It's all happening all the time. There is a continuation. There is no break. And this is the dvitiyam janma, the janma which actually happens, correct? Because you are there in your mother's body. From there now you have got your own body. You have become independent. That is the second janma. You have come out now. Then what is the third janma? That also now the Upanishad will talk about here. The third janma is what? Saha asya ayam atma punyebhyaha karmabhyaha pratidhiyate. Now interestingly, the Upanishad is talking about the father, in fact. The son, once he grows up, he learns Veda and all that, he becomes the Pratinidhi for the father, and to do all the Punya Karma, which the father may not have able. Father also is supposed to have done a lot of karma, but there may be omissions and commissions in that. Then what does the father do? Father has become old now. Then there is actually a ritual called Samprati. This comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In the fifth Brahmana of the first chapter, there is a Samprati, like that, a ritual is there. And father will say, you are Brahman, you are Yajna and all that. Then the son has to repeat Aham Brahma, Aham Yajnaha, like that. Means he has understood whatever the father has instructed. The father says, see, I should have studied so many things in the Veda. I should have done so many karma, whatever has been mandated by the Veda. I should have done, but I may have missed out. There are omissions and commissions. I may have done something wrong. I may have not done something at all. Now everything is your responsibility. That ritually he does that. He gives, and he says that now you do and complete it on my behalf. So the son now becomes the self of the father, and then the father, he is too old. Correct? At the time of death only this samprati is done, and then he dies. That is coming here also. See, ata asya ayam Itara Atma Kritakrityaha Vayogataha Praiti. So this body which has become Vayogataha means what? Become very old. So having now given having given all this responsibility to this Itaraha Atma means what? Is his son, the other Atma, his own other self. He leaves his body and goes away. Then the son, once he completes, then father attains Swargaloka and all that. Because of that, son can complete whatever father has missed, son will complete that. And here one Purvapakshi asks, till the first two Janma you talked about the child. Now why the Upanishad is talking about the father like that? Then Bhashyakara says, no, son also will do the same thing when his time comes. But the Upanishad is just pointing out that father and son are not really two different selves. There is a Gauna Atma is there, correct? One looks upon one son as a continuation of oneself only. So that is how you perpetuate yourself. So it is not a defect or anything. Upanishad just wants to point out that fact. The son also will do the same thing. When he becomes old, he has to now do that samprati with his own son. Like that it will happen. So now that is the Tritiyam Janma. So when you die, this body is also gone. Then you take up another body, correct? Preta Sharira and all, like we say. Once you die, you take another Sharira. That Sharira, in fact, is very small and all that. You have to make it. In fact, all the karma we do for 13 days, correct? After somebody dies, our karma is very meaningful. In fact, it's not any big mantra or anything is there. If somebody knows some basic Sanskrit, you can very well understand all our Antima karma, whatever we do. So basically that Preta Sharira only we are developing. We have to develop the Preta Sharira for the Jiva who has left this body. And so we actually do Avahana of that Jiva. That is what we say. We do a Sthapana. Like a stone we actually put. Nowadays they do it in a separate place called Jnanavapi and all that. But if you have your own home, you can do it in your home also. And then they give all sorts of food you actually every day you have to offer, but they don't put any salt in that, because there is a concept that very tasty food you should not give. Then that jiva will stay here itself. We want to give goodbye to that jiva and send off only we are giving. In fact, finally on the, I think 11th day or something, we actually do a send off. Okay, bye bye, you can leave, please go ahead. And then even on the way also, for them to have easy passage, we give all this dhanam and all that. Whatever you give dhanam, those things and all will be available to them while they are crossing some river and all that. There are a lot of descriptions in Puranas about this, in Garuda Purana particularly. So the jiva actually leaves, and all our antima karma is about creating that preta sharira properly. You give all the offerings, and then you tell, you go, you travel. That is why this these people write, if somebody dies, everybody writes rip and all that. There is nothing called rest in peace for us. Everybody has to go. Okay, no rest. This is a samsara chakra, correct? It is a cycle. So you have to go, either you go to Swarga, Naraka, wherever it is, depending on your Papa Punya, and again you have to take birth. There is no resting in peace or anything. Is that clear? That itself is not very correct according to our Shastra. So this jiva goes now, that is the Tritiya Janma. And then again the jiva is born. Punarjayate. So itaf prayanneva punarjayate. So it leaves, it goes again, same thing I told you, correct? It goes wherever punya, papa, depending on that, another janma. Again, after that is over, again it comes through the megha, again comes through the oshadi, comes into the body of the father. This is a cycle. Okay, keeps on happening. Now this has been said. This is again adhyaropa. Then how do one come out of this cycle? Atma Jnanam. There is no other way. Self-knowledge. So you know about all this samsara chakra. you don't want to get caught in that, then where do I go? Self is like the center point, correct? Everything is rotating around in the circle, but if you go to the center, there is no rotation, nothing. That is the self. You now try to know yourself. You are not really subjected to anything. In fact, all these things is only due to Bhranti. It's all ignorantly you are taking your body mind sense complex as yourself and you are suffering. So you get, due to some punya vasha, you get some vairagya, nirveda mayat, pariksha lokan karma chitan nasti akritaha kritena. Like this Mundaka Upanishad says very beautifully. So you somehow analyze this world, all your experiences, and whatever you are gaining, it is not making you totally satisfied. Whatever you gain, everything is limited, but I do not want the limited. Akritaha kritena nasti. I understand the limitless can never be created, nor can it be reached, nor can it be something can be modified and it can become limitless. That also is not possible. Nor you can purify something and make it limitless. None of these things is possible. It is not the result of any action. If at all limitless is there, it has to be already there, and I have to be already that. There is no other option, correct? There is no other way. So that is what I want. And that is, one Rishi has already said that. The Apavada also is there immediately in the same chapter. Tad uktam Rishina garbhenu san anvesham avedam aham devanam janimani vishwa. So this Rishi is Vamadeva Rishi. It is there. Etat eva etat Shayanaha Vamadevaha Evam Uvacha, like that it is there at the end, correct? So Vamadeva Rishi comes in Brihadaranyaka also. There he says Aham Manuhu Aham Adityaha, like that. I am the Manu who was there. I am Aditya Devata. Here also he says that. What is he saying? While he was there in the Garbha, only he saw this, the reality of the self. What is the reality of oneself? That I am the self of all these devas. That's how he says, I knew all their janmas. Vishwa Janma Janimani means all their janmas, all the lives of all the devatas. I know because I am the self of all. Okay, that is how I knew this. Then how did he know in the Garbha without any Shastra, Guru, and all that means? That also Bhashyakara does not leave that question. These are all we have to take it as special upadhi. Or in the previous Janma only he has done all the Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. Then some Pratibandha was still there, that is gone. When during the Garbha only that Pratibandha is gone. So the Jnanam has taken place. Okay, so Vamadeva says this. Not only that, he says, Shatam ma pura ayasihi arakshan adaha shenaha javasa niradiyam iti garbha eva etat shayanaha Vamadevaha evam uvacha. Means he says, Shatam ma pura ayasihi means what? Like fort made up of iron, it seems. Hundreds of forts made up of iron walls, hundreds. Within that you are there, protected. Means what? You have gone through all this. Body only is said like this, like fort made up of iron. You have taken so many births and you have had identification with all those bodies. Means you are bound within that iron forts. But then what? Due to the bala, strength of this Atma Jnanam, like a hawk, with strength he flew away. He got out of all this bondage. And when did he say all these things? Garbha eva etat shayanaha, lying in his mother's womb only. Vamadeva Rishi said in this manner, he told all these things. So this is the only way you can, self-knowledge alone can actually give you freedom from this cycle of samsara. Then what is the phala for this knowledge also? The Upanishad gives. Sa evam vidvan asmat sharira bhedat urdhvam utkramya Amushmin Swarge Loke Sarvan Kaman Aptva Amritaha Samabhavat. So Samabhavat means he became. Two times it is repeated means normally in oral tradition you are coming to the end of a chapter. So now Vamadeva knew this. So knowing this, what happened to Vamadeva? In this manner, this Sa Evam Vidwan Asman Sharira Bedat Urdhvam means this Vamadeva knew this reality about the self. Then after Sharira Bheda means the destruction of the body. Okay, the body anyway will disintegrate. You can't do anything about it. You may prolong it and all that, but at the end of the day, it is made up of Panchabhutas. It has to go back to that. So when the Sharira is gone, is destroyed, what happened to this Vamadeva Rishi means he became exalted. Utkramya. Amush means Swarge Loke means here this Swarga Loka means self itself is the Loka. Or here we have to take. Here Swarge Loka means not going to some Swarga. I am Atma, I am Lokaha. Like that Upanishad also says. Here Swarga is your own self, is your Loka. That means this Vamadeva Rishi knew oneself as this limitless conscious being, and because of that, what? He is Purnaha. All his desires are fulfilled. Sarvan Kaman Aptva. In that vision of the self itself, all the desires also are fulfilled. Okay? And because of that, what? He became Amritaha. Amritaha Samabhavat. He became immortal. There is no more Janma. There is no more Jiva which is going and all that. These three Janmas and all was talked about, but again that is a cycle, correct? But how do you come out of that cycle and become immortal means by knowledge of this self alone. You come out of that cycle, become immortal. Become immortal means what? You are already really immortal. You have to know that. So this chapter is over. Now the final chapter, which is the Tritiya Adhyayaha, Panchama Khanda. So here, Bhashyakara introduces this by saying that now we know Upanishad is talking about Vamadeva and other jnanis. Then what about the people at current time? He is talking about his time. We can talk about our time. So whoever is interested to know this self, they have some apatata jnanam, right? Apatata jnanam means what? You have some general knowledge. You have read some paperbacks. You have attended some classes. You have seen some YouTube videos nowadays, correct? Or Facebook Live, all that. You have some general knowledge. Now you also want to know this Atma. Okay. Then all these people are, then vichara is happening, discussion. What is this Atma? How can we know this Atma? What is the nature of this Atma? You are now interested in that. Now that is what is shown in this first Vakya. So Koyam Atmeti Vayam Upasmahe Kataraha Sa Atma. So what is this Atma which we are worshipping? You can say Paramatma also you can take here. Upasmahe means we are worshipping, we are meditating upon. What is this Atma? Who is this Atma? In fact, Kataraha means amongst the two, who is this? So why Kataraha comes here? No, Bhashyakara again explains. I already told you when we talked about the Anupravesha also, there the Paramatma is doing a vichara, whether I should go through the feet or through the head. But already in the second chapter, Prana has said to have entered the body through the feet. Prana has already entered. So Paramatma entered through the head, I told you. So now also here Bhashyakara says Kataraha means amongst the two, who is this Paramatma or Atma? Means whether this Prana is the Atma or there is some other Atma, the Paramatma who is the Chaitanya Swarupa. So Kataraha Sa Atma, like that also they are doing vichara. And again, who is this Atma means what? With this, through this Atma, or with this Atma only, one is seeing things. Yenava pashyati, or Yenava shrinoti. Because of this Atma only we are hearing. Yenava gandhan jigrati, gandhan ajigrati. So with whom only we are, or through whom, by whom only we are smelling. Yenava vacham vyakaroti, because of whom only we are able to speak words. Yenava swadu cha aswadu cha vijanati, by whom only we are knowing what is tasty food and what is not tasty and all that. Correct? All these things we know. So means through which conscious principle are we knowing all these things? First question is this. Because first although we have identity with each of these indriyas, I told you, correct? Because we also have in Vyavahara, I am blind, I am deaf, all these things. But still, any one of these indriya vyapara is not really you. You cannot be defined by them alone. But if you are defined by that, you are a ajnani. That is said even in 147 also, in Brihadaranyaka also. If you look upon yourself based on the activity of any one of these organs, or even each one of them at different times, you are having identity based on the activities which are done by those organs. Then Nasaveda, you do not know. Then it says Atma ityeva upasita. You have to know yourself as separate from all these things, as just Atma. That is called Vidya Sutram in Brihadaranyaka. So here also, once you start analyzing, all these activities are happening, different indriyas are working, but they are all working not for themselves or by themselves. There is something else. What is that? First we have to understand. In fact, that the answer for that, first what they arrive at is what? Yed etat hridayam manascha etat. In fact, all these indriyas are acting because there is a mind. There is a hridaya, means here buddhi and manas is there. Antakarana is there. So without the antakarana, the activities of these indriyas are not really meaningful, or it's not evident in fact. So manas is the one. So this is the first understanding, or provisional understanding, we have to say. Okay. Yed etat hridayam manascha etat. And what is this mind? Even in Brihadaranyaka, there is there hirir, bhir, dhir, like that. It gives a huge list. Ityevam sarvam manaha eva, like that. Here also there is a huge list. In fact, only reading Bhasha, I can even understand all the meanings, because many of them look like synonyms, correct? So Bhashyakara but gives different meanings for each of them. So Sanjnanam, Ajnanam, Vijnanam, Prajnanam, Meda, Drishtihi, Dhritihi, Matihi, Manisha, Jutihi, Smritihi, Sankalpaha, Kratuhu, Asuhu, Kamaha, Vashaha iti, Sarvani, Eva etani, Prajnanasya namadheyani bhavanti. So the Prajnana is introduced here. And in the next Vakya, it will say Prajnanam is Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, that is the Mahavakya. But Prajnana here is with reference to the mind and the individual self. Okay, the sentient principle in each and every body, the awareness which is manifest. So through that only all these things are happening, correct? All these things are really the function of an aware, conscious being. What is that? First, Samjnanam, it is saying. Okay, Ajnanam, Vijnanam, Prajnanam, all these different things are talked about here. Okay, so what are these things? These different things which are being talked about. This Bhashyakara only gives all the meaning, I told you. So what is the meaning of Samjnanam? First we have to understand. Okay, Samjnanam means what? The sentience itself is called Samjnana. The awareness in general, sentient beings we say, correct? Beings which are sentient, that is called Samjnanam. Ajnanam means what? Ajnana means, he says, it is Ishwaratvam, means rulership, overlordship. That is called Ajnanam. Prajnanam means what here? Prajna also is there afterwards, but here Prajnanam in this context he says is Tatkalika Prabhavatvam, like that it is said, means Prajnapti, means presence of mind. In a particular situation, you should get the right knowledge, correct? You should be able to use the right knowledge in a particular given situation. That is called, that we in English we call it as presence of mind and all that, correct? That presence of mind is called Prajnanam. Medha, we all know. Medha is Dharana Shakti, the ability to hold whatever you have learnt and analyze it. That is all called Medha. And then, so your ability to hold and retain things. Then Drishtihi means Drishtihi is perception. In general, Pratyaksha, you can say all objects which you know through senses, all that is called Drishti, knowing. Then Dhritihi, Dhritihi means what? Dhritihi means you can say enthusiasm or fortitude and all that. So even so, you do not lose your enthusiasm even if you have to work hard. Sometimes everything is going like this. You are not able to work, and then again you have something. You are enthused again. You are rejuvenated. Correct. That is all called dhriti. You are able to work without losing this enthusiasm. You are buoyed up always. Then matihi means thinking. Manisha means Bhashyakara says Swatantriyena, you are able to think. Independently, you are able to think means what? You are not just going by whatever others say. You are able to think independently. You are a creative person or a genius, like that we can say. That is Manisha special. Then Jyotihi means suffering, going to some disease and all that. You even physically you are not okay. You are depressed, correct? Mentally also it affects you. Jyotihi. All these things are different states of mind. That's what we have to understand. Manovritti only. Then memory, spritihi, sankalpa. Now, sankalpaha means what? Ascertaining, etc. As white, black, and all that. This is this, like that. If you ascertain, that's called sankalpa. Kratuhu means taking a resolution. That is called kratu here. Then asuhu means what? Whatever you are doing, all the manovritti with reference to the bodily functions which you are aware of, correct? For your bodily functions to happen correctly, you are aware of your hunger, thirst, and based on that you are doing something. All that is called asu. Okay, life-sustaining activities, even breathing. If you are aware of your breathing, that is called asu. Then kamaha, desire or longing. Bhashyakara says kama here is actually longing to say that I cannot be happy without something. That is the real kama. Vashaha, vasha means what? Again, the passion, you can say. Okay, you want to have companionship with a woman and all that. That is called vasha here. So all these things are nothing but what? Sarvani eva etani prajnanasya namadheyani. It is all names given for awareness only. Awareness, the sentience which is there in every body, they are the names of this. But names given not its very nature, but due to the upadhi, this Bhashyakara makes clear again. Because these are all based on the state of the upadhi, correct? The antakarna. When the antakarna is in a particular state, then you are happy. Antakarna is in some other state, you are depressed. So for that only all these names are given, but these are all really the manifestation of consciousness in the mind when the mind is in a particular state. Okay, manovritti is there. In that, the consciousness manifests itself, and then all these names are given for that. Are nothing but this prajnana only, this consciousness. The consciousness alone is manifesting through the mind, and through that only we get names for all these states of mind when the conscious, when it becomes evident correct? There has to be a conscious principle. Mind itself is jada here, but it is a conditioning factor, and because of that only we get all these names. And then what? Next is the actual. This is where the Mahavakya is there. So Yesha Brahma. So that Prajnana is now presented again. Okay, as Yesha Brahma, Yesha Indraha, Yesha Prajapatihi, Yete Sarve Devaha, Imani cha Pancha Mahabhutani, Prithivi, Vayuhu, Akasha, Apaha, Jyotimshi, Ityetani, Imani cha Shudram, Mishrani, Iva. Okay, so this Prajnanam, this consciousness, what do we think? It is located in a particular body. That is our problem. We think that we are consciousness located in a particular body, limited, but that is not the truth. How is the Upanishad revealing this consciousness is Brahma? Here Bhashyakara says it is Aparam Brahma, means Hiranyagarbha. We say the totality of all the subtle bodies is Hiranyagarbha. That Hiranyagarbha is nothing but this Chaitanyam only, this consciousness, this Prajnanam. And that same consciousness is Indra. Again, here Indra can be taken as Devaraja or Devendra or Idamdraha, Indraha, like that we gave a name, correct? That way also we can take. The one who has known oneself as Brahman also is Indra. Yesha Prajapati, this same consciousness alone is Prajapati also. The one, Prajapati here means the first born with the physical body. The totality of all the physical bodies, Virat or Prajapati is called here. That is also the same consciousness. And Yete Sarve Devaha, because all the Devas are nothing but organs of this Prajapati only. They are all in the body of the Prajapati as different Indriyas, as totality, and then they are manifest in each individual body also, correct? As the Adhisthana Devata. But all these Devatas are also nothing but this Prajnanam, Sarve Devaha. And then what? Imani cha Pancha Mahabhutani, all the five Mahabhutas are also this consciousness alone, this Prajnanam. What are these Mahabhutas? Prithivi, Vayuhu. Here the order is somewhat different. So it starts from earth and then goes to Vayu, which is wind, then Akasha, which is space, then Apaha, which is water, and Jyoti Umshi means what? Agni. So all the five Mahabhutas are also this particular Prajnanam only. Iti etani imani cha Shudra Mishrani iva. So here, before we go to the Bhashyakara makes one more point clear here. So by telling that all these things are nothing but Prajnanam, Prana also is included here, because Prana is looked upon as the where all the Indriyas together is Prana really. Because Indriyas resolve into the Prana, even in deep sleep and all that. So Bhashyakara makes a point here. He says that there was a doubt before amongst the two, who is this Atma? Means Prana is not this Atma, because Prana is nothing but all this mind and Indriyas put together only is Prana, because all of them resolve into Prana. In sleep again they come back from the Prana. Only when the Prana is there, they can even come back, right? If the Prana leaves, means only dead body is there. Nothing will, nobody is going to come back again or rise up or wake up. So Prana itself is a combination of all these Indriyas and Manas. And but this consciousness is all of these things. It is shown here. Means Prana is not this Atma, then that is now made very clear. The Kataraha, that question is answered here. Prana entered through the Pada, that is fine, but Prana is not the Atma. The one who entered through the head, who did Pravesha through the Brahmarandra, that Paramatma alone is this Prajnanam, who is everything, who is the consciousness, limitless consciousness. So that Paramatma alone, further it continues. It is not leaving anything to doubt. So iti etani imani cha kshudra mishrani iva. Iva word has no meaning, Bhashyakara says. But it is also all these small organisms. Kshudra mishrani means even snakes and other things, he says. All these organisms which reproduce. Then bijani means all the seeds which are all causes for further reproduction. Itarani cha itarani means others, and others means what? It is generally all other objects. Everything is this consciousness alone. And what are those other things? Itarani cha itarani means again it starts. Itarani cha, andajani cha, jarujani cha, svedajani cha, udbhijani cha. So andajani means those which are born out of eggs. Anda. Jarayujani also we say. Here it is coming as jarujani. Means those which are born in a womb. Mammals you can say. Andajani means you can say all reptiles and birds and all that. Then Svedajani means that which is born out of moisture. Sweat literally Sveda means, but moisture means all the microorganisms, fungus and all that. Correct? It by fungus comes amoeba and all that. They require some moisture. And Udbijani means that which split the earth and come out, like plants. So all these things are this Prajnanam only. Not only that, Ashvaha, Gavaha, Purushaha, Hastinaha, Yatkincha idam prani. So even all the cows, all the horses, all the human beings, elephants, and whatever is living here, finally it says, Yatkincha idam prani, all the beings here. And what kind of beings? Again, Jangamam cha, Patatri cha, Yachasthavaram. So whatever is moving, Jangamam, whatever is flying, Patatri, and Yachasthavaram, whatever is there, standing there only, fixed, like the trees and all that. All kinds of living beings are this Prajnanam only. This consciousness alone is appearing as all this objective world. The entire objective world is nothing but an appearance in this consciousness. Sarvam tat prajnanetram. So here prajnanetram, Bhashyakara again gives the meaning. So they are all impelled by this prajna, like that he gives the meaning. Netram means nayati and all he takes. So that which is, or that which has its very existence due to this prajna. That is the meaning he gives. So prajnanetram means what? All that is here, sarvam, all that is here has its existence owing to this consciousness alone. They don't have independent existence of their own. So this is also one way of badhayam samanadikaranyam only. When we say all that is here is prajnanam means what? It is like saying this snake is nothing but rope. When we say snake is nothing but rope, what are we trying to convey? We are actually negating the snake. We say only rope is real, correct? That is called badhayam samanadikaranyam in Sanskritam. Means you put two things in apposition. Normally you put two things in apposition means one may be a quality, another may be a substance, correct? Rose is red, if you say. Means rose flower is there, it has red color petals, correct? Rose is red. But if I say snake is rope, it's not the same thing. There the snake itself is negated. Only rope is the reality. Correct? Silver is shell. Means silverness is negated. Shell alone is there. Similarly here, all that is here is Brahman. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything here is Prajna Netram. Means what? Prajna alone is there. Consciousness alone is there. All other things are really only appearances. They are all negated. It's also Apavada. Prajnane Pratishtitam. All this is only established in this, or they have this Prajnana as the Adhisthana, as their very basis, their very existence is only due to this conscious being who is limitless. There is only one conscious being. Atma Eka Eva Agre, correct? So there are not many Atmas. There is only one Atma who has entered into all these bodies, and that Atma only you have to recognize yourself as. Who gives existence to whatever is there here. The entire existence is due to this Atma only. So prajnane pratishtitam, prajnanetraha lokaha, prajna pratishtha, prajnanam brahma. So this entire loka, all that is here, they are all only like prajnanetra means they are known through this prajnana also. Here we can take because it is repeated, correct? Only this consciousness only, like even the Brihadaranyaka Vakya we say, correct? Sarvatma bhuhu and all we say. So the Brahman is the one who is experiencing in each and every Sukshma Sharira, manifest as the consciousness there, and who is experiencing everything like that. Prajna Netraha Lokaha. So in this world, everywhere, whatever you know, it is through this Prajnanam only, this consciousness. So everything is based on this consciousness, and this consciousness alone. The consciousness means it is yourself only always. And yourself is not separate from Brahma means limitless. Brihi Vriddhau, that's how Brahman comes from the Dhatu Brihi Vriddhau, means big. But big means what big? It is not an adjective big. Understand that. If you say big mosquito, big mountain and all that, there is a big difference between the big mosquito and big mountain. It's relative. But big as a noun, unqualified big, that is Brahman. That is limitless really. Ananta. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That Jnanam only is Prajnanam here. By saying Jnanam only, we can have this identity with the individual, because individual also is a sentient being. I am, when I analyze myself who I am really, the analysis is very simple, correct? We can do Atma Anatma Viveka. That is something everybody is taught in Vedanta, very basic vichara or inquiry is what? Who am I? And what is the basis for this inquiry? I am not what I know. Whatever I know is not I. It is as simple as that. I know this mouse, so I am not the mouse. There is no confusion there. But I know this body, I am not the body. There is no, there is confusion still, because I take this body as myself. I know I am hungry, I am thirsty, therefore I am not the prana. I know whether my organs are functioning or not, whether I am seeing or not, whether I am hearing or not, whether I am tasting or not. So I am not any of these indriyas. All their functions I know. I know all the thoughts in my mind. They are all getting evident to me. Therefore, I am not the mind also. None of these thoughts are me. I am this Chaitanyam, Chaitanya Swarupa. This anybody can arrive at. But how many Chaitanyas are there like this? What is the nature of this Chaitanya? This consciousness, is it embodied? It is local to this body alone? That is where the Upanishad is giving the vision. Upanishad says there is only one consciousness. That consciousness alone is the basis for the entire objective universe. Their entire existence is because of this consciousness alone, and that is you. And you don't have to know yourself as an object. When the Upanishad is revealing yourself to you, essentially it has already negated all the objective universe. Neti, neti, neti. Anything you know as an object, you are not that. Correct? Already we told you that. Whatever I know, it is not I. And whatever then you arrive at that I am a conscious being, that conscious being again is now presented as Brahma. It is the basis for this entire creation. It is limitless. It is Purnaha. It is Ananda Swarupa. It is the source of all happiness. It is complete. It is full. It doesn't lack anything. And that is your identity. Now, once you hear this teaching, what should I do then? Means you have to keep hearing. That's all. Till this teaching transforms you. Because in every class in Vedanta, the important thing is what? It is not about gathering facts and all that. 5 koshas are there, 3 bodies are there and all that. Facts are not important. When the Guru is teaching you, you have to see yourself in that light. It is a transformation which is important. You have to transform your vision of yourself. in the light of the Shastra and whatever the Guru is saying, because Guru has that vision and Guru is trying to communicate that same vision to you. And you have to just let that words of the Guru operate. That is the means of knowledge here. Don't bring your will and other things and interfere. That's all you have to make effort for. If you take care of that, if you prepare yourself for this knowledge, knowledge will take place, because knowledge is always Vastu Tantra. So you have to just see yourself. That is why Shastra is called Shastra Darpana. It is a mirror. You have to see yourself in the words of the Shastra, and that will transform you. That will make you a Mukta Purusha. That will free you from all your sufferings, all your sorrow, everything. So that is the Shastra. And finally, again, at the end, the Upanishad is giving the Jnana Phalam. Sa etena prajnena atmana asmal lokad utkramya amushmin swarge loke sarvan kaman aptva amritaha samabhavat. So like even Vamadeva and others had this knowledge and attained the Jnana Phalam. Whoever even today understands this Atma, correct? Because you are going through so many janmas, in whichever janma, in whichever avasatha and all we said, correct? Whichever abode you learn about yourself truly, the reality of yourself, then with that knowledge what happens? Sayetena prajnena, okay, atmana asmal lokat utkramya, giving up this body, then what? Same meaning. This already we saw in the previous chapter also. Utkramya, amush means swarge loke. So here swarge loke means again this swarga, which is yourself alone. There you gain whatever, all your desires are fulfilled, because this Atma is limitless. It lacks nothing. And you gain immortality. Amritaha samabhavat. Amritaha samabhavat. So like this Upanishad concludes. Now let us see. I think finally some question is there.
Yes, Acharya, there is a question. Yes.
Appearance, because limitless can't be created. Then how can you explain Vyavaharika Satya, due to which I feel real hunger or distress during current pandemic? Correct. We do not deny there is no Vyavaharika Satya. Correct. Vyavaharika Satya is an appearance in the Paramarthika Atma. But you do not identify yourself with the Vyavaharika, because Vyavaharika is not real. It is like in dream, while dreaming, of course, you are suffering, correct? But once you wake up, you know it is all not real. This whatever waking also is the same, in fact. But the only problem is we are trying to teach you that thing during waking itself. But you have to grasp that. That is the whole idea here. If you understand that reality, it's only a process of clarity. In fact, one insight alone will not make a big difference. That's why the Shravanam Paunaf Punyena Kuryat, like that it is said. You have to keep studying the Shastra. Till when means till the time. See, right now, if I ask who are you, everybody will say, I am so and so, I am Jay Shankaraha, I am this human being and all that. That is your identity, correct? Naturally, you have that identity. But that identity should go away, and naturally you say, Aham Brahmasmi. That should become Sahaja. Till that time, you have to continue. You have to continue. What else you have to do, in fact? Do you want the limitless, or you are going after all the limited things? If you go after the limited things, your loss is limitless. So understanding that, you have to keep doing Shastra Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. That is the only way you can gain this. Acharya also has said that clearly. So that's the thing.
We have another question from Facebook. Two questions from Facebook. I'll read them out. If there is only Brahman, if there is Brahman alone, why does Upanishads go on elaborating so much on creation of worlds when it could have just elaborated on the nature of the self?
No, that's what the nature of the self means. we are encountering the world, correct? And we are encountering other sentient objects in the world. And also there is a question whether who is the creator of this world. So any darshana has to address all these questions. Without addressing them, if I just talk about the self, it will not make sense, correct? First we have to account. That's why the Srishti Prakriya is given. But the Srishti Prakriya itself, I told you, it's only an Adhyaropa. It is presented to show that there is one cause, and that one cause alone is Satyam, and then everything else automatically becomes Mithya. So to show the Satyam Mithya only, Srishti Prakriya has to be talked about. Ishvara has to be shown as the cause of this entire world. Without that, there is no Advaita Siddhi. First, Ishvara we have to understand as Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. Ishvara is Satyam, and you are also Satyam because your Swarupa and Ishvara Swarupa is not any different. And everything else is only appearance, Mithya. Then only it becomes Mithya, correct? Unless you point out the Mithyatvam of the world, for that you have to show the world as a Karya. And Karana is Satyam. And then the whole thing, then Advaita Siddhi is there. It has to be taught like this only. There is no other way to teach.
Okay. And the another question is, now that we have heard that our true nature is limitless Brahman, what practice should I do to move towards that knowledge?
That's what I said. The practice is listen to the Shastra. Right? Go to a guru and study properly. As for the specific sadhana and all that, the guru will guide you. Because it again, we cannot give any general prescription. It is like a doctor cannot give a general prescription to everybody, correct? Okay, we can give some vitamin and all that, but that's not the point. Generally, we can still say that you do your Nitya Karma first, correct? You have to do karma with Yoga Buddhi. That is where everybody has to start. So, are you able to do that? Everybody is born in some kula. You have your own kula dharma. You have your ashrama dharma. Start from there. And along with that, do Shastra, Shravana, Manana, and Vidyasana. That has to be done always. That is invariable in all these things. That you keep on doing. Then with Chitta Shuddhi, the Shastra itself will become clearer and clearer to you. The more you listen to it, your mind will become purified. Means what? You are becoming free from your likes and dislikes. Ragadvesha, one has to become master of. Then only the Shastra will make sense to you. Because till the time you have Ragadvesha means what? The implication is you are a limited being lacking something. That's why you have a Raga, correct? So Ragadveshas, one has to become relatively free from. Why we are saying that as a prerequisite? Because Ragadveshas always imply that you are a limited being. Then how can you even you yourself as the limitless? It's totally opposite, correct? That's why you start from there. Gain all the prerequisites. Those are all very clear in the Shastra itself. And then it's an easy thing. It's not actually very difficult, in fact.
Thank you. And we have a final question. If thoughts are in mind, what is the function of mind?
The function of the mind is to regulate or is to bring together all the stimulus which are coming through different indriyas, correct? In fact, we say that through the mind only really we are knowing through different indriyas also. Our theory of knowledge is mind goes through all these indriyas and takes the form of the object. And in that the consciousness is manifest, and that's how knowledge takes place. So mind is the one which takes the form of all the objects, whether for sense perception. If there is no sense perception involved, mind can still take forms based on memory and all that, correct? So mind is the one where the consciousness manifests and then knowledge takes place. Everything becomes evident to one. So that is the function of mind. Mind is the one, and we said all these things, correct?
Correct.
What we saw, Samjnanam, Ajnanam, Prajnanam, Vijnanam, everything Bhashyakara said. All those things are functions of mind only.
Okay, thank you. And Acharya, that concludes the question and answer session. And from the entire team of Advaita Academy, thank you immensely for joining us and sharing these wonderful teachings of Aitariya Upanishad with Shankara Bhashyam. We wish to have more classes from you. And viewers, We will be soon announcing more sessions from various speakers. Please tune into our social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. We will be announcing the classes there. With this, we will conclude. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Idam
Purnat
Purnat
Purnamudachyate Purnasya
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti
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 Shanti.
Harihi Om
Om
Shri
Shri
Gurubhyo
Gurubhyo
Namaha
Namaha.
Harihi
Harihi
Om
Om.